I do. Darren, I do remember the first storm I covered. As a matter of fact, it was 99 storms ago. Or back in 1992, I covered the second landfall of Andrew. So Andrew came into South Florida first, then it went out over the Gulf and came into Louisiana as a Category 3. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. I'm up on the 16th floor. This was back when they had the old air conditioner units in the window. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, that unit blew right in. I sat up out of bed. I'm looking at this air conditioner in the middle of my floor. I'm looking out the window at all sorts of surging going on. Transformers are looking like it's the 4th of July out there. And I called my producer. I said, we got to go live. We got to go on the air. It was one of the earliest times we ever went on the Weather Channel as the storm was coming in. I remember it well. You know what? I've never done a Western Pacific typhoon. They call them typhoons there. It's the same thing that they're hurricanes. They're bigger. They have a much bigger wind field, but they also build for their natural disaster over there. But I think it would be really cool to go to like Guam and actually cover a typhoon in the Western Pacific. That would be pretty cool. Hopefully it doesn't do anything or harm anybody, but to be able to cover one of those I think would be awesome. Or even Australia, because a lot of people don't realize that down under, the storms actually rotate clockwise. Yeah, they go the other direction down in the southern hemisphere. So either the Westpac or Australia. You know, what's really funny is I think maybe 1987, 88, the Weather Channel became pretty mainstream in pop culture. When I started at the Weather Channel, we were in 20 million homes in 1986. We maxed out at about 108 million, and now we're still in 80 million homes out there. And, you know, we are the trusted source. When the weather threatens, people tune to us. We know that for a fact. And that's probably the biggest takeaway from my career, which, by the way, I just started the 34th year about 3 days ago, is the fact that I've come on the air and I provide a service. It's nice to get up in the morning and realize that you actually have a chance to say something or do something that helps people. And that's been one of the most wonderful parts of my career. I shopped there 2 years ago to do my preparedness at Lowe's. I went in and I got my kit, I put everything in a duffel bag, and it's just sitting there waiting. Now, granted, there are things that you have to check on, especially non-perishable stuff, and also batteries. They don't last forever. So you want to kind of recycle through some of that stuff. Maybe some of the water as well. You kind of want fresh water. You don't want it sitting in a plastic jug all along. But you got to remember, you got to keep your family going, potentially inside that home, which may be your shelter, with or without power, for 3 days. So think about what it takes to feed everybody. Make sure you got enough medicine on hand when a disaster strikes. Got some cash. Maybe some extra battery chargers for your phones, or batteries, I should say, because the battery chargers aren't going to be charging unless you have a generator. Consider a generator, especially a whole house generator, where if you like the comforts of home and you like the fridge on, you like the AC going, you like the fan going on the ceiling, you're going to need something to power your whole house. But make sure it's installed by a professional. And you can certainly find out many options at places like Lowe's. Generac is a great option. They make great generators, they make whole house systems. Make sure it's installed by a professional though. Yeah, solar's great. You know, the places that we've come with photovoltaics, which are the solar panels and the cells, a lot more of that sun is actually being utilized and turned into power. So you can have these open panels. I've seen these where you can just open these solar panels, put it out in the sun, because a lot of times after the storm goes by, it clears out and it gets hot. But you can plug in your cell phone, you can plug in a radio, you can get things charged so that you can communicate with the rest of the world. Just because you lose power doesn't necessarily mean the cell towers are down. So oftentimes cell phone usage is still a very viable way of communicating, but you got to power that cell phone. And until you can go to a place like Lowe's that has this big truck on standby where you just walk in and charge your phone for a little while, you can now buy or purchase some of these solar panels where you can actually plug your phone in. It's pretty amazing. But get it done during the day because there's not a lot of sun at night, last time I checked. It's all Weather Channel here. I'm certainly at the latter part of my career, which hopefully will go another 4 to 6 years. But as I kind of transition toward the end of it, I want to make sure that messages like this get out. I want to make sure people are prepared. I want to make sure that things aren't being hyped. The world is not coming to an end. All right, we're not going to have Cat 5 hurricanes in January, but should the climate be changing in a way that the weather patterns are going to change, we want to make you aware of that. And that's certainly something I'm going to be following toward these later stages of my career. Jim loves the lake, especially on a day like this where it's piping hot outside. He just loves being in the water. So my kids love going up on the lake and going out in the boat with Dad, and sometimes just lounging in the water. Okay, just treading water. So it's a wonderful place to be, and if I wasn't here right now, it's exactly where I'd be. Okay, so last summer it would have been the Hootie and the Blowfish, Luke Combs, Jason Aldean concert at SunTrust Park. Awesome show, by the way. And interestingly enough, because I was in New Orleans last week, I missed the Luke Combs show that I would have went to last Friday night. So Mother Nature giveth and taketh away. Yeah, there's so many awesome new toys out there, especially that revolve around science. And if you're, this is for the parents too. If you see your kid really taking an interest in science, push that interest, because my dad is really the only reason I'm doing this. He's the one who discovered in me that I left the barn light on when it was supposed to snow at night. I couldn't wait for the first flakes to fall. I shoveled the driveway so my mother could get to work in the morning. I love being out in the weather, and now to have this as an extension of my childhood has been a wonderful career. So follow your kids, see what they like and love. You got to wake up 50 years of your life every morning to go to work, love what you do. That's what my dad said to me in my senior year in high school. I'll never forget it, and that is why I do meteorology today.